Welcome back.
Today we are going to be talking about gift knits. It's the summer, definitely. As you see, there are only two of us because Sadie is currently traveling for the month of July. So we figured we would just do a little video and then she can catch you guys up on what she's been working on when she gets back. But yeah, this is not going to be a podcast. We're mostly going to be talking about gift knits.
More of a thematic episode.
Because even though the holiday season is a few months out, we're already starting to think about it.
Yeah.
At least a lot of people I'm close to have birthdays coming up.
A lot of September babies.
Fall. Yeah, so...
In the roto.
Oh, it's true. We're already starting to think about gift knits and thought we would talk about the ones we've made so far in our knitting career.
Yeah, so we're going to go through our gift knits, and not all of them, but we picked like a few to talk about, and hopefully there'll be some like pattern ideas, but also just gift knitting. I feel like it's a whole realm of knitting that's can be really different from knitting for yourself, because it's like, you know, maybe you're making your own choices that you wouldn't make for yourself, or just experimenting with new garments for other people.
And it can be a stressful experience if you're not a deadline person like me.
Yeah, totally.
So we're going to be talking about the trials and tribulations of gift knits. Yes. Okay.
Also, Samantha Batson finished her gloves.
Our roommate Samantha Batson finished her gloves.
I have some clips of it that
we can insert. Yeah.
Hi everyone. Hi Fishknit fans. I am elusive fourth roommate Sam. Finally making my fishknit debut with knitting in hand. I have been working on these fingerless gloves for a few months now. This is my first real project. In the past, I have just knit some squares that were supposed to be scarves and never came to fruition. So I have one pretty much done. I just need to sew in the ends. And they were initially too small, so I've had to add on this extra panel, which actually turned out to be an awesome little detail that I'm super excited about. So I got that one. I got this one still cooking. Thumb hole done. Just gotta add some more rows, sew it up, and they will be done. I'm so excited. I can't wait to wear them in the winter.
Yay!
Finished gloves! Yay!
To kick things off, I think I'm gonna start with my first ever gift knit. That was actually my first ever project. It was the first ever pattern I used by the one and only Petite Knit. It is the No Frills sweater that I knit for my mother. I used both knitting for Olive mohair and knitting for Olive merino, yes. I can't remember the exact color, but it's this beautiful. I also have really horrible pictures because when I first started knitting, I did not take photos of my knitting like I do now. But it's in this really beautiful like olivey green color. And it was originally for my mom's birthday. No, I'm sorry. It was originally for Christmas. So I started it a few months before Christmas and ended up giving it to my mom for her birthday, which is in August. So like a full year almost, working on this sweater.
Wow.
And it's a very basic construction. It's a raglan, but a lot of stock in it on a very small gauge for my first project meant a lot of time, effort, love went into this sweater. And by the end of it, I was just so sick and tired of it. But generally, I would say knitting it was a very good first experience. Petite Knit is also just, in my opinion, a very good pattern writer. So for a beginner, it was awesome. And yeah, my mom loves it. And I would honestly re-knit it for myself in a looser gauge, maybe with a less nice yarn. because that also felt very high stakes. I chose the recommended yarn that Petite Knit used for the pattern, and it being such high quality made me really stress about making it perfect, and in a first project that was not the case. So anyways,
okay, my first project I'm going to talk about is also one of my first knitting projects, and it's my second pair of socks that I ever knit. And the sock pattern that I was first exposed to is the Andrea Mowry Everyday.
the everyday sock.
Everyday DRK, yeah, sock, but not the DK version. And it was also the first pattern I ever followed. And it was just really tricky to figure out heel shaping when I was first starting to knit, especially on like very small needles and with very small yarn. So I made these socks, and what had happened was I ran out of yarn on the second sock and decided to substitute a completely different yarn of a completely different weight and composition. You can barely see, but
Oh my god, I can see. Wait, are they top up? Are they toe up?
toe up.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. That's kind of crazy.
And they just came out really goofy.
They're cute.
And also the wrong size. And initially I was knitting them for myself, and then because they were the wrong size, like way too big for me, I was like, to my partner, I was like, I made you something. And he was like, oh, nice. And sometimes I see them in his room in random places, and I'm like, okay, that's sweet that they still exist, because if I owned them, I don't know, I would never wear them. But yeah, the first yarn was like a really nice sock yarn, and the second yarn was also a nice yarn, but not intended for socks, and very felty and just completely different. So yeah, I think that was kind of a flop, but they are wearable, so minor success.
So a success.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah.
I think next I will talk about a self-drafted knit that was kind of a specific request from my partner for Christmas of last year. He requested and chose the yarn for a like ski mask balaclava situation. He wanted 2 eye holes and a mouth hole, and so we went to the yarn store together, and he picked out these colors, which are not colors I typically work with. And actually, I think in our last podcast episode, I have the scraps from them, and I started knitting a little like fingerless glove with them, and I was really not rocking with it, but I'm still trying to use those up. Anyways, so it's this kind of pink blue match, and I used some of the scraps from the Knitting for Olive from the gift knit sweater for my mom that was left, also to kind of ground those really bright colors in a stripy pattern. I think I did a 3x1 rib all the way up. I started bottom up, and I totally just winged it. So I did these big I did a slip stitch. I think so. I like would knit one row and then slip every other to make it kind of stretchy, because it was so fine, superwash. Anyways, it was really stressful, and I really hated knitting it. I just hated the texture of the superwash, how fine it was. I knit it on 3mm as well, so it kind of took a while. And I wasn't used to knitting on such small needles at the time for anything other than socks. So I really hated it the whole way through. and I finished it a few days before sending it to him. But he really loves it. He gets a lot of compliments on it when he wears it out, and then he's always like, girlfriend made it. So that's always a little nice. So it's a success, but I really did not enjoy the process of it, and is not something I would personally wear, but I'm so glad he loves it, and that's really all that matters.
That is all that matters.
Yeah.
The next one that I'll talk about is a scarf, shawl, that I made for my aunt, who I've talked about like millions of times on this on this YouTube channel. And the pattern is called 198 Yards of Heaven by Christy Verity, and it is a one skein
Oh, it's beautiful.
shawl pattern, with this kind of like leaf floral pointy lace. I made it with one skein of alpaca that I got for Christmas 2 years ago, and it was a very nice introduction to lace knitting because I don't think I had done very much of it at that point, and it was one skein, and it was like a really awesome little bang it out, give it to someone you love. And I think she wears it sometimes, although she has so many shawls that she has made that are so much more intricate. Yeah.
Awesome. I think the next one I will talk about are actually some socks I made for Lucy.
I won't get them, but they're in the wash.
Oh, no worries. For a Secret Santa this past Christmas. Yeah, they're pretty basic. The pattern is, I think they're called the Rye Sock. It's a free pattern that I found on Ravelry, and I just used the Rye Sock by Tin Can Knits. And I just used some self-striping wool, sock wool that I got from my partner's mom, I think. So I'm not quite sure what it is, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with how they came out. Lucy wears them
All the time.
And yeah, they were, I love making socks, so they were really fun to knit. And they had a bit of a time crunch because that's the thing with gift knits during the holidays, is that they all happen at once. So I had kind of a list of things to make for Christmas, and then our Secret Santa was a bit after New Year's, so I had this window of time to just knit these socks, and I finished them the day of, or the day before. I think I did block them. Or no, I didn't.
Yeah, I think you did.
I think I did. Anyways.
The next two things I'm gonna condense into one, but they are these cat style head accessories that I made for two of my roommates from last year, and one of them is the Elevated Cat or Devil Hat by, it's a funny name, but it's a great pattern. Elevated Cat or Devil Hat by Brianna Kidd, and it is not a free pattern, but it is very fun. And yeah, my friend Ines wanted like a little cat hat, and I made a nice thick scarf attached to it, rather than like a little tie, because we live in a cold place and she wanted something to cover her neck. So that was super fun. I used Let Lopi and Drops Kid Silk, and in this like beautiful yellow and orange combo, and it just matches her vibe. And the other one was a similarly cat themed hat for my other old roommate Melody, who wanted like a springtime pink and green hat, and this one I just free-handed and used Estelle Yarn's Chunky on a US 9 needle, and I just did like a rib tube, and then it's so simple. You just knit, like, instead of decreasing, you just knit a square, You just knit straight up, bind off, and then when you put the hat on, you get like little cat ears. So that was really fun and satisfying. And if you have anyone who loves cats in your life, or anyone who's going to like a, 2016 style feminist protest.
The next gift knit I will talk about is another sweater that I knit for my dad this past Christmas, which was another petite knit sweater, the Ingrid sweater, which I've talked a bit about in other podcast episodes, just because I'm re-knitting it for myself now. But I knit it pretty quickly. I think I finished it in about 2 months using Cascade yarn Eco Plus, I think. And it's really nice blue color. And yeah, he really loves it. And I wish I had actually knit a size down because it really, really stretched in blocking, but it's just an oversized vibe for a hand knit sweater. And I really, really enjoyed knitting this pattern. That's why I'm knitting it again, because the sections are just really engaging. Like I kind of mentioned in the first sweater, the stockinette all the way through was really difficult to do. It's at such a small gauge, and not only was this a larger needle size and a different weight of yarn, but the fact that there were different like patterns to kind of look forward to seeing how the sweater evolved really made it go super, super quickly. So yeah, that's for maybe someone you love a lot. Sweater knit is kind of a big, I don't know, it's a big investment, but I think it can be really nice, especially for the holidays when it's nice and cold.
There's 2 hats that I've made for Eli, my partner, in the last 2 years. I forget what they were for, honestly. I think one was just for fun, or maybe an anniversary, and the other was for Valentine's Day or something like that. I honestly have no idea. But I made 2 like bug themed, or I guess not. The second one is bug themed, the first one is fish themed, which were also my 2 kind of first experiences with color work, which is why I included them, because I think color work is a really luxurious kind of knit to give to someone. No matter how big it is, it's just like beautiful, and it feels very, I don't know, like leveled up for some reason.
Totally.
So the first one I just duplicate stitched, which was, I think that still counts as color work, but it's so tedious and not something that I would do again. But actually, wait, I don't think I did actually. I think I might have done intarsia and then fixed it with duplicate stitch in spots where I kind of messed up. But this was yarn that I got in Barcelona, or no, Madrid, from We Are Knitters. There's a We Are Knitters store in Madrid.
Oh my goodness.
And it's not the best quality. Like, it feels very soft, but it does pill a lot. I got the petite wool, which is a bulky yarn that's 100% wool. And the second one I made with Jameson's Shetland Spindrift that I got at Rhinebeck last fall, which we should talk about if we want to go to Rhinebeck this year.
I'm so down. You know I'm so down.
It would be so fun.
That would be so fun.
But yeah, this one I tried to do more of like a what's it called? The like Scottish colorwork style. Yeah, I tried to do more of like a Fair Isle vibe. I have this book that my dad got me. I don't know where it is, but it's a Fair Isle book, and it has a bunch of like patterns in it for different types of Fair Isle that you can do. And it's kind of like it's still not long enough. It's almost like a beret fitting, but he wears it, so yeah.
The next knit I will talk about is also a set of colorwork things from my partner. I started with the gloves. I did the gloves first. And I had this leftover sock yarn that I used for Lucy socks and a pair of socks for myself and a pair of fingerless gloves for myself. And yeah, I just had a lot of it. So I decided to blend that with another sock yarn. It's the Lang Superwash Merino, I think. So 2 superwash merinos together. The pattern is sort of staggered rectangles on the outside of the glove, and then on the inside, I think I just did lines straight up. It was just kind of a silly, I don't know, I was being creative. And so just being creative. So I finished those and then was traveling and only had those 2 yarns left and an abundance of both of them. So I decided to make him some socks to go with. The socks, I did find a colorwork chart on Pinterest, which I will link down below. And they're just kind of these like wavy socks that he really likes and wears a lot. So yeah, I gave them to him, I think just for nothing, for vibes.
Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about are these slippers that Morgane actually put me onto the pattern. Free pattern on Ravelry called, let's try this out. Number 3, double toffler.
Yes.
Double toffler.
It's
Norwegian.
Yes.
So number 3, and we'll link it, but it's like NR3 double toffler by Liv Stungland. And these are a felted project, which I think these slippers were both of our first felting experiences.
So true.
And I feel like I learned a lot. We both separately used a bulky yarn. Is that correct? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you make them much bigger than how you want them to fit on your foot, because in the felting process, the fibers, get hot and sort of felt together.
And shrink quite a bit.
And shrink, exactly. And then after they come out of the wash, you kind of have to form them to your foot or whoever's foot you're going to give them to. So that they fit. And I was making these for my grandmother, so I didn't have her with me to make her wear them. So I just put them on my foot, and her foot is just slightly smaller, I think. So, and they actually turned out to be different shades of gray because it was kind of a scrap project. But my grandma loves them and wears them around her house. Yeah.
Beautiful. The last one I'm going to talk about is a shawl I made for my boyfriend's mother for Christmas of this last Christmas, actually. The pattern is a free one called Glitz at the Ritz by Helen Stewart. And
Glitz at the Ritz.
Glitz at the Ritz. It's kind of a fun name. And originally, or the pattern, the original pattern calls for putting like beads in as you knit, which is pretty cool. I didn't have any, so I just knit it without the beads. But I used I think alpaca blend that I acquired somehow, somewhere, in this really beautiful like dark green color. And she really likes it. Here's a photo of her wearing it. And I think I scored some points with the in-laws, which I was very happy about. So yeah, that's it. The knitting process was it was pretty easy. I wasn't that stressed for time because it went pretty quickly. Again, pattern and changing like different alternating stitches are really engaging for my brain. So I really enjoyed knitting it. It went pretty quickly, and I'm super, super happy with how it turned out. The alpaca blend, whatever I used, also blocked really beautifully, so it has this like very elegant drape to it. And yeah, I'm just super happy with how it came out.
Okay, the final, totally. The final gift knit that I'm going to talk about is a slipover that I made for another past roommate, Miss Chal Raíces. Shout out.
Shout out.
And this is a slipover that I made for myself initially, and I think I wore it in a video past. And it's actually a heavily modified pattern that I bought at Woolstock, a knitting store in Copenhagen, where we were both. Oh my gosh, that's lore that I feel
We
like
both lived. Yeah.
So Morgane and I both lived in Copenhagen for like 6 months in our 3rd year of university, and that, dare I say, was the time when we both were like
molded
knitting.
Our knitting experience.
We are knitting. Everybody is knitting, and we are also knitting.
Everybody is knitting, so we are.
Everybody was knitting. Like,
yes.
It was glorious.
It
in
was
class,
awesome.
Everyone's knitting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if we were in classes with more Danish people, there would be even more people knitting.
It's true.
But we would often go to Woolstock, which is this, I'm sure if you're on knitting YouTube, you've heard of it, but it's this gorgeous store.
And if you're ever in Copenhagen, go. Please go. It's incredible.
It's really fun. And there are so many other knitting stores too, but that one you can kind of sit and have a little snack, and you can also wind your own yarn there, which we did. And yeah, so I bought the pattern there, and they only have like these printed out cards, which I think is so cute. And I did the pattern completely wrong, but it ended up being kind of awesome. And then my friend Holly was like, I would love one of those. I was like, you got it, girl. So I just repeated my mistakes. And it's essentially a completely different pattern because of that. But it is a slipover knitted on 7 and 9 millimeter needles. I didn't have an 8, so that's why I jumped from a 7 to a 9. I used Cascade Yarns Eco Plus and Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in fennel seed, which to this day is one of my favorite Knitting for Olive
colors.
Is that what you use for your mom's?
No, but I've seen it, and
Okay.
it's
gorgeous. Gorgeous, yeah. It's just so beautiful. But it's very simple, knitted flat, just like bottom up. You decrease around the sleeves, you cast off for the neck, and then you make sleeves, and then you sew it together, seam it together, and add some ribbing. And that just makes a knitter feel good. I don't know, it's just nice when like you know that you made somebody something that they love.
And cherish.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing, and
it's rewarding.
I think now we're gonna move on to talking about our future plans for gift knits.
Yes. Part of the reason we're making this video is because we're both currently working on gift knits.
Exactly.
So we figured we should chat about those a little bit. I am mid-row, so let me finish this
Totally.
real quick. So, I am currently, mother, if you're watching tune out, please. I am currently knitting this is the very start of a shawl for my mama, or my mama. I think I have been doing something a bit wrong here. It's supposed to be asymmetrical, so that's normal. I just think here something has gone awry. But it is a pattern by a Spanish designer named Marianela Gallo called Chal Raíces, and it's free on Ravelry. and it is a beautiful pattern modeled after the city of Sevilla in Spain, where my mom lived for a few years. So I thought she would really appreciate that element of this pattern. I'm using an alpaca silk cashmere fingering weight yarn that I bought in Boston at the Boston Fiber Company. If you're ever there, please go check it out. They're incredible. Everyone there is really lovely, and their hand-dyed stuff is amazing. I will share more in our next podcast in the acquisitions section. But for the purposes of this specific knit, this is the brand. It's Wild Violet Fibers, which they are based out of Massachusetts, I believe, in the colorway Rye Bread. So it's this really beautiful, I just balled it the other day. It's this really beautiful mauvey brown, I don't know if you can see that, but a really elegant color that I think my mom is going to love. I am, in the spirit of full transparency, I am really, really late on knitting this. Her birthday is in like 10 days, and I'm supposed to ship this to a different country for her. So I will probably be a little late on that. That's just part of the reality of knitting gifts, is sometimes you have something on needles that you're really inspired by and can't stop knitting even though you should for your deadline. So I've been working on a few other things, and the time kind of escaped me, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this now. So I'm putting everything on pause and turboing on this. But something about knitting for me personally is that I never want it to be stressful. It's something I do to release stress, actually, and I'm not a very artistic person, but it is sort of my artistic outlet, where I get to be a little creative, make some choices that, yeah, lends itself to be kind of an art. And so despite this deadline, I do want to make sure I'm making it like a fun experience for myself, because then I think the product will feel more satisfying when I'm done with it. So yeah, I am really happy with how it's starting. I cast this on yesterday, so I'm slow. But I think if I set aside today, tomorrow, and the day after, I'm confident that I can power through most of it and then write a beautiful letter explaining why it's late. But yeah, that is my gift knit that I'm working on right now. And then should we do
Just blow through it, honestly.
Okay. I also have a few gift knits that I have not yet started on, but are visions I have. So again, for I won't talk about that one. I just found out that two very good friends of mine are getting married towards the end of next month, so in about a month. And I would like to make them a beautiful hand knit wedding gift, or a set of wedding gift something. The one of them that I'm sort of that I've known for longer and that I'm a little closer to has been requesting some gloves for about a year, so I could make him those. I even know like what color he wants and stuff. But I kind of want to make them both something that he and his partner can like wear as a set. And I don't know if that means making 2 pairs of gloves, or I just watched the Aviva, who is Loopy Studios, vlog where she also made some wedding gift knits, and she made a beautiful like scarf and I think a little handkerchief for the 2 people getting married, which I also really liked that idea. Similar to sort of the reason I'm making this, or it's for a birthday, but I guess I kind of want to make something where the fiber is really being put on a pedestal, like really where the fiber has its place to shine. So maybe picking out something a little more luxurious for this grand special occasion. So yeah, that is a thing that is simmering in my head. And again, I don't have a lot of time to think about it because it's in a month. And I have this to finish, and then 2 things to maybe start for them, on top of things I just want to be making for myself. So gift knit season is upon us. Here we are.
Literally.
That's it for me, I think.
Okay. Amazing. So I'm gonna speed through this, but I'm currently making these pressed flower socks for someone special in my life whose birthday is coming up. I know that this person is probably watching this, so even though it's probably obvious, I'm not going to say who it's for, but I'll reveal it at a special time. And this is where I'm at with the pressed flower socks. I have my little lifeline in here where the heel will be added on.
Oh, nice.
And I've never done a sock like this, so it's interesting to feel like you're just knitting a tube like forever. And I'm really enjoying mosaic, and yeah, that's it. Next, I am also knitting, this is not a surprise, but my partner's birthday is coming up in September, and I decided oh my gosh, y'all actually have no idea. I was gonna try to make this like t-shirt for them, which ended up being the first project I've endeavored on where like before I even cast it on, my brain was just rejecting it, and I was like not excited about it. I was dreading it, and I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna put myself through this and then have the product be something that I knew wasn't gonna be like up to my standard, and probably something they wouldn't wear that much. Went to the yarn store and I picked up 10 balls, skeins, hanks of Drops Nepal, which at our store is like $5.89 per ball. Crazy. Which is really great. And I even had a little bit of a point benefit at this store. So that was nice. And this is a wool and alpaca mix, and it's in the shade 0506. It's an Aran weight yarn. I'm using a 5mm needle, and I'm going to make the Future Milf sweater by Camilla Wenenberg. And this is a sweater that I saw at the very beginning of my knitting journey and really loved and wanted to make for myself, but just never really got around to it. And for Eli, I'm not gonna write Future Milf on the front, but I'm thinking of potentially duplicate stitching. So I'm going back on what I said earlier. I might duplicate stitch like something small, like, I don't know, something to personalize it. But yeah, I'm just gonna make it all gray and without the hood, so kind of like a mock neck, I guess. And I just cast it on during this video, and I'm excited about that.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And that's all we have for today.
That's all we have for today, 50 minutes
50
later.
minutes of filming.
Crazy. If you stayed for this long of us talking about our gift knits and gift knit ideas, maybe comment down below a gift knit you've made that you're really proud of. That would be really awesome. We'd love to see stuff that you guys have all made. Maybe this inspired you to make that special someone a fiber knit garment or accessory or fun thing. But yeah,
yeah, thanks for watching.
Thanks so much for watching.
And hopefully we'll be back again shortly.
With Sadie. Yeah.
And I think there's quite a few acquisitions.
There are quite a few acquisitions that have been made in the last month, and I know Sadie has been going crazy.
Oh hell yeah!
The group chat,
she's going bonkers.
Yeah. So we'll be back maybe just with like I can't say the word acquisition video.
That would be insane. But yeah.
Anyways, until next time, we love you a lot. Thank you for the support and love.
Bye.
Izu, bye.